In the world today, we often hear the statement, love is love, and it's used to proclaim what is also called marriage equality. What do these terms mean, and what light does John Paul II's Theology of the Body shine on these issues? Let's take a look. We're continuing our series from my book, Good News About Sex and Marriage. We are in the chapter on same-sex relationships, gay marriage, homosexuality, all of those questions. Controversial stuff, I know, sensitive, delicate, I know. But let's be bold. Let's take a look at what the church really holds out without fear. If what the church teaches is true, it is the truth that will set us free. All right, we want to look here at this idea bantered about by the culture today that love is love. It's a slogan that's cleverly designed to appeal to our sense of equality, our sense of justice, but I want to argue that it obfuscates, in other words, it kind of is trying to hide what's really at stake. It intentionally dodges the fact that there is a fundamental difference between the sexual romantic love of a man and a woman and the love of two men or of two women. A difference, by the way, that is no small matter because the existence of the human race depends upon it. We really need a sound philosophical foundation to understand what is at stake here. Philosophy, the word means love of wisdom, quite literally. Philosophia, right? Philosophy. But the best definition I've ever heard of philosophy is the art of making meaningful distinctions. Let's ponder that. The art of making meaningful distinctions. The slogan, love is love, is evidence that we have lost this art in the modern world. We've become blind to the critical distinction between what is properly called marital love and the vast variety of other kinds of human love. There are many genuine ways in which men are called to love other men. There are many genuine ways in which women are called to love other women. But marital love is a very specific love. Erotic love is a very specific kind of love. Since we're familiar here with brand identities in the modern world, maybe we could use this as an example. Nike has every right to safeguard its name in the marketplace. And it would be a real injustice for a court of law to say a different shoe company could name itself Nike and use the slogan, just do it, right? That would be an injustice. Marital love, similarly, is a very specific kind of love. It's a specific brand of love. And it's manifested in a husband and wife engaging in the union of their genitals. Two men cannot do that. Two women cannot unite their genitals. Only a man and a woman can unite their genitals. And this is for the sake of their own bond and the generation and education of children. People of the same sex can express genuine love for each other in a great many ways, as we're saying, but they can't express it in that way. It's physically, biologically, ontologically impossible. It used to be obvious to everyone that genitals are meant to generate. We used to call it the facts of life, right? First comes love, then comes marriage, then comes the baby in the baby carriage. But today, thanks to the reality warping impact of effective contraceptive technology, the facts of life are entirely up for grabs. It takes some time due to what sociologist William Ogburn called cultural lag, but introduce effective contraception on a wide scale, and eventually the fundamental link among genitals, gender, and generating will all but vanish from the way we understand our personal relationships and our personal identities. This is the world we live in right now. We view the world through what I call condom-colored glasses. And when we view the world through condom-colored glasses, the purpose, the fundamental meaning of the sexual difference, after some time because of cultural lag, the meaning of the sexual difference evaporates. And that's the world we live in now. Behind phrases like marriage equality and love is love lies the assertion, often masked but nonetheless present, that whether it's a man and a woman or two people of the same sex engaging in genital behavior, it's the same. But that's simply not true. It's not the same precisely because of the genital difference, right? What is philosophy? It's the art of making meaningful distinctions. And there is a very meaningful distinction in the sexual distinction. Men are not women, women are not men, and they're not simply interchangeable. Why is there a sexual difference? Genitals are for generating. First comes love, then comes marriage, then comes the baby in the baby carriage. That can be tossed out as old-fashioned or whatever you might want to accuse it of being. But in the end, it is a fact of nature that cannot be erased. The purpose of the genital difference is the generation of the next generation. And the commitment to responsible genital activity for the purpose of the generation of the next generation has always been called marriage. What so often is called true equality, we need to fight for true equality, is actually false equality because we're falsely equating things that are not the same. The genital activity of a man and a woman is not the same as the genital activity of two men or two women. However, I will grant you this. When we view genital activity through condom-colored glasses, indeed, they do become the same. Let me give you a visual here. When we understand what a man and a woman can do with their genitals, that is, the generation of the next generation, it's simply impossible to raise to that level what two men might be doing with their genitals. It's simply impossible to raise to that level what two women might be doing with their genitals. However, it is not impossible to lower what a man and a woman are doing with their genitals to the same level as what two men or two women are doing with their genitals. Contraception lowers what a man and a woman are doing with their genitals to the same level, which is the pursuit of sterile pleasure. So when the world says marriage equality or love is love, they are assuming already the lowering of what a man and a woman do with the blinding, reality warping effect of contraceptive technology. And on this level, guess what? The secular world is entirely correct. These two are the same. But as soon as we take off our condom-colored glasses and realize what a man and a woman are actually called to do, the difference becomes very clear. What we're really saying here, when we lower what a man and a woman do with contraception to this level, we say love is love. But if we're honest with ourselves, what we're really saying is lust is lust. And what is lust? Lust is the pursuit of sexual pleasure apart from its God-given goal of generating the next generation in an act of love that images God. You may not know this history, but up until 1930, every Christian denomination across the board recognized the immorality of contraception. And that if we embrace contraception, it would eventually blind us to the meaning of marriage and the sexual difference. In 1930, the Anglican Church was the first to change that teaching and embrace contraception. And every denomination across the board has followed suit, except the Catholic Church. 72 years after that 1930 Anglican decision to allow contraception, the Archbishop of Canterbury, Rowan Williams, who's the head of the Anglican Church, observed, quote, "The absolute condemnation of same-sex relations has nothing substantial to rely upon in a church that accepts the legitimacy of contraception." He was correct. But rather than questioning the legitimacy of contraception, he embraced the logic of same-sex relationships. He's right. It has to be one or the other. When we look for real answers to how the modern world came to embrace the unprecedented social experiment of same-sex marriage, it becomes increasingly clear that contraceptive practice and mentality is the foundation on which the entire premise of justifying homosexual activity and thereafter demanding marriage equality stands, right? The alternative, a frightening one for a lot of us, is to ask the question, was the Catholic Church right? Has the Catholic Church always been right that contraception is an affront to our creation as male and female and the true meaning of sex and the true dignity of marital love? Maybe the Catholic Church isn't crazy after all.